presentation of Fox Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are Ohio.
It's high noon on the streets of Cleveland, and it's a showdown between sharpshooter Corey Kluber and the Rangers' high-powered offense. The Indians' marksman has been off the charts in June, averaging almost a strikeout and a half per inning while holding opponents under a 200 average. The Tribe's ace will try to turn out the lights on Texas bats and make it 6 out of 7 against the Rangers. Next on Sports Time Ohio. A hot summer day in downtown Cleveland as the Indians bid adieu to the hometown crowd, wrapping up the homestand hopefully with another win to make it 3 out of 4 against the Texas Rangers. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Perfect man on the mound for Cleveland today as they try to make it a series win. Corey Kluber, you know, he missed that month with the back. When he came back, you're never sure how well he's going to pitch. It's like he hasn't missed a beat, and he's even been better maybe than we've seen him in a while.
Yeah, I don't think you can pitch any better in a month than Corey has this month. He's averaged 7 innings per start. His breaking stuff has been phenomenal. I mean, he's not walking anybody. He's having a ton of strikeouts, and it's tough to get a hit. If you get him a couple runs, there's no doubt he's going to hold on and win the ball game because he's their ace. When you look at the month of June for Kluber, you can see it 3-0. He should have 4 wins. In his last start, he didn't allow an earned run. Might have had another shutout in a row, but opposition hitting just 157. He hasn't allowed an earned run in his last 21 innings, and this is the right guy to have on the mound to try and win 3 out of 4 from Texas.
Especially against a Rangers lineup that has been swinging and missing a lot already in this series. We'll be back with the play-by-play. Alan Jensen will have the showstopper, and Andre Knott has some insight into what exactly has made Corey Kluber so dominant in the month of June. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by W.B. Mason, the official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. By your local Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by Nature Stone, the only concrete solution.
Up the homestand and the series with Texas trying to win 3 out of 4. And we are back here with you in center field along with Jensen Lewis, Al Pulowski. Let's take a look at our showstopper from yesterday. And for the Minnesota Twins, it's Max Kepler, who had a big day. 3 RBIs against the Red Sox and helping the Twins to a 4-1 win. How about Rick Porcello? He struggles in the first inning.
Yeah, he's given up 13 first inning runs, Al, and Minnesota continues their road dominance. 24-11, tied for second most road wins in the American League. Oddly enough, with the Indians, Houston leading everybody there at 29-9. But you look at the central standings, it'll be Kyle Gibson for Minnesota against David Price of the Red Sox. Minnesota hanging tough. They're right in this thing. So if you want to handicap this with the Indians, they're going to have to play 4 games in 3 days again. Similar to that Minnesota weekend, going to Detroit starting tomorrow night. Indians just got to keep taking care of business on the road, and they'll be fine.
Keep waiting for the Minnesota Twins to fade, and they just won't fade as we approach the midway point.
Their run differential at -45 tells you all you need to know. How long can that rotation sustain? Irvin Santana career year, but other than that, they have been, as we said, very pedestrian.
All right, for the call of today's game, Matt Underwood and Rick Manning have that for you, along with Andre Knott. Let's send it upstairs now. Guys?
Thanks, Al. Today's game between the Indians and the Rangers is being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the United States Armed Forces serving around the world on land and on ships at sea. Welcome in to this matinee affair between Cleveland and Texas. Corey Kluber getting the start for the Tribe. And it's hard to believe that after he left his start on May the 2nd, his ERA was .506. His month of June has been unbelievable, an ERA of 1.29. So as we go down to Andre Knott, what happened?
Well, first of all, health. His back is healthy. He's learned how to deal with his back, Matt. But to be great at anything in life, you can't just become at ease with where you're at. Corey Kluber kept looking at himself, kept looking at tape, kept talking to the other starters. He said something's not there. He found that little thing and he's taken off, and hear what that little thing may have been in today's Hear Right Sounds of the Game with Corey Kluber.
It's actually not really watching myself too much. It's more kind of you feel something and then you kind of, for me, I like to bounce off other people, see what they think. So I go up more off by feel because I know what I want it to feel like, and when it doesn't feel like it, you know, you're kind of always searching to get to that place. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's always never ending, because you could feel great one start, and then 5 days from that, you feel like you're supposed to be throwing left-handed.
I've used this analogy before, but a lot of times with a pitcher, their mechanics, they're so finely tuned, and there's so many moving parts. It's a little bit like a golfer's swing. And the guy swinging the club, the guy throwing the ball, he is his own best pitching coach at times.
Well, he is in tune to his game right now. I'll tell you what, because he has been outstanding, and whatever it takes and however you search, he's just a hard worker, and that's why he's one of the best in the game, because he works at it.
Well, he's got the ball today as the Indians try to make it 3 out of 4 against the Rangers. Here's the lineup he will face for Jeff Bannister and the Rangers today, brought to you by Hankook Tires. Shin-Soo Choo will lead it off. Elvis Andrus has had a good series. 6 hits, 3 of them home runs. Then Nomar Mazara. Adrian Beltre DHing today will bat cleanup. Rougned Odor, Carlos Gomez. Robinson Chirinos is behind the plate, which means Mike Napoli gets the start at third base. And Joey Gallo, or rather Mike Napoli's at first base. Joey Gallo then moves over to third base.
And Corey Kluber, the Northern Ohio Honda starting pitcher. And Kluber 6-2 on the year at .324. We know the month of June, he's been awesome. He's undefeated at home in his 6 starts, 4-0. Could have had another one in his last start, but 2 unearned runs. His defense failed him. But he's just been locked in. In his career against the Rangers, he's 2-1 in 5 starts. So with a win today and the way he's been pitching, it's going to be a tough battle for that Texas offense. We'll check the defense behind him. Brought to you by Ram. It's Brantley in left, Zimmer in center, Geyer in right. Ramirez at third, Lindor at short, Kipnis is at second, Santana at first, and Gomes doing the catching.
Rob Drake behind the plate. Pat Hoberg at first. The crew chief, Jerry Davis, at second base. Tony Randazzo is at third. The Indians have won 5 of 6 against Texas so far this year. And against the American League West, they have gone 15-4. And they lead Minnesota by a half game in the American League Central Division standings with a record of 41-36. Texas, meanwhile, at the break-even mark, 39 and 39. They're 13.5 games back of Houston in the AL West, 1 game back of the Angels in the standings. We're ready to go as Corey Kluber winds it up, and a fastball is high for ball 1. Out of play. Texas is this is a long road trip for them. They had 3 in New York, concluding a 4-game series today, and then they still have 1 more stop before they head back to Arlington. They'll move on to Chicago for 3 games against the White Sox after this. Kluber gets ahead. The Indians will head to Detroit, but just for the weekend. Friday, doubleheader Saturday, Sunday, and then right back home, off day Monday. And then they'll welcome in the San Diego Padres on the 4th of July. 1-2 pitch is fouled off.
And then go right into the All-Star break. Well, Texas, this has been their problem in the series. 2-strike hitting. On Monday, the first game, they were 4 for 23. Tuesday, 0 for 23. And yesterday, 3 for 20. So that combined 7 for 66, which is just barely over 100.
The 1-2. Well, Rick, it's not that surprising to hear those numbers when you look at how many strikeouts the Rangers have piled up.
Yeah.
Just look at the series alone. I mean, Shin-Soo Choo is 2 for 12, has struck out 7 times. Mike Napoli's 1 for 7. He's struck out 6 times. And they have some guys in this lineup that they get to 2 strikes. They're not interested in putting it in play.
Yeah, they don't change their swing or cut it down. You're right.
The 1-2. Got him looking. Corey Kluber starts it off with his 94th strikeout of the year.
Take a look at our Nissan pitch tracker right there on the outside. Very kind right there. And if he gets that pitch all day, watch out. It's going to be tough.
Well, that's a wayside storylines. Corey Kluber against this swing and miss team, and the Indians table setters. Boy, they were so good last night. When you talk about Kipnis and Lindor, they were on base a combined 7 times at the top of the order, accounting for 3 runs. 3 runs scored. Here's Elvis Andrus. And whatever plagues the Texas lineup from time to time, he is immune to it, especially when he comes to Cleveland.
Isn't that the truth? He's up over 300, having a fine season.
Boy, there's a good cutter from Kluber, and you can see Andrus thinking that was going to be a fastball on the outside corner, and just as he swung at it, it darted away.
Now Kluber, the reigning American League Player of the Week. Depending on this start, I would think he's got a pretty darn good chance for Pitcher of the Month in the American League the way he has pitched.
The 0-2 swung on and missed. He struck him out. And with that, the Texas Rangers have set a new franchise record for strikeouts in a month. That's the 262nd time they have struck out this month. They broke the record they just set last month.
Wow. Well, that was an excellent pitch by Kluber, swing and miss or not. That started just on the outside edge, and it finished about a ball width or 2 off the plate.
Nomar Mazara takes a fastball. Mazara is 1 for 12 in the series, and he has struck out 5 times. Back out of play. It's 0-2. Corey Kluber. They call him the Klubot. Here's why. 11 pitches, 10 strikes. And the 0-2 hit a long way, deep right. Back is Geyer, and it is gone. On an 0-2 pitch, Nomar Mazara hits his 11th home run of the year.
Well, this is Texas at its finest. That was an 0-2 pitch from Corey. Looked like he hung him a slider, and Mazara hit it into the seats. And they have done that in this series. That's how they score. They score with the long ball. A couple of solo home runs last night. And you're going to see the 0-2 pitch by Kluber. It stayed right there. It didn't get in enough. And he got hurt by it. That's the 5th solo home run. No, the 6th in the series, too. 7th.
2 solo homers last night, 2 the night before, and 2 in the opener.
Right.
Jose Ramirez with a routine play throws out Adrian Beltre. Kluber strikes out a pair, but Nomar Mazara goes deep, and the Rangers have a 1-0 lead. The Indians are coming to bat. Jason Kipnis will lead it off. Francisco Lindor in the 2-hole. Michael Brantley batting third. Then it's Edwin Encarnacion. Jose Ramirez, who is closing in on a possible all-star spot. Brandon Guyer hitting 6th. Then it's Santana, Gomes, and Zimmer.
Andrew Cashner, the Northern Ohio Hyundai starting pitcher. Cashner just getting activated off the DL. He had a left oblique strain. He'll make his 13th start this year in his career. He is 0-1 against the Indians. He made a start last year, went 5 innings, gave up 6 hits and 6 runs. He walked 6, struck out 6.
Jason Kipnis looks at a fastball for strike 1.
He has the 4-pitch mix: fastball, little 2-seamer, slider, curveball, and a changeup.
Bounced it in there. Kipnis 4 for 11 in the series, has scored a couple of runs. As we said with our storylines, boy, it's a different offense when you can get the table setters on in front of guys like Brantley, Encarnacion, Ramirez. In the air to right, but room for Chu. 1 down. Let's go down to Andre.
Well, the expectations for Andrew Cashner is really about 80 to 85 pitches as he comes off the DL. But really, with the Texas side, they want to get him as deep as they can because their bullpen has been used so much. They got a big weekend still to go. But 80 to 85 pitches is the number that they want to get to and then get into that bullpen. They're even talking about making one of their starters a long man right now because of the situation that they've gone through over the last week and a half with their bullpen.
Well, I remember with Cole Hamels starting the first game, he was around 75 pitches and ended up getting almost 95, I believe. So yeah, they're in trouble.
Francisco Lindor taking a strike. Doubles up, it's 0-2. Cashner, especially when you look over his previous 5 starts, has been hit and miss. He's either been good or bad. Simple as that. Is down on strikes is Lindor.
Well, he's one of those guys that keeps you off balance. He can get the double play ball when you have base runners. Let's check out the WB Mason defense for the Rangers. Mazzara in left, Gomez at center, Chu in right. Gallo at third, Andrus at short, Odor at second, Napoli at first, Chirinos behind the plate. You know, he's one of those guys, when he's on his game, he can keep you off balance if he gets it up. And it's a matter of command with him. As I said, the one start he made against the Indians, he walked 6 guys. You give the Indians 6 extra base runners, and they will take advantage of it.
5 starts ago, he faced Boston, gave up 5 runs in 5 innings. Next start, it was Toronto. He allowed 1 run. Then it was Houston, 5 runs in 6 innings. Then 1 run against the Nationals. And then his last start before coming off the DL, 4 runs in 4 innings against Houston. So it's either been, boy, he's locked in and he's going to dominate, or they hit him out of the yard.
Yeah, well, good offenses that hit him and scored on him, but also a couple the Washington offense. That's a great offense too over there in the National League that he held down.
Dominated them. Yeah, there's a ball down into the right field corner. Michael Brantley can take his time and gallop into second base with a 2-out double. And that'll be his 14th double on the year and push his season batting average to probably just up over the 300 mark now.
Well, that gives you a guy in scoring position. The fastball inside at 95. Michael very quick in there with his first swing and pulled it down the line. So that'll give the Indians an opportunity with a runner in scoring position, albeit with 2 outs.
The opportunity is for Edwin Encarnacion, who has batted only .189 this year with runners in scoring position. And a weak ground ball to first will end the inning. No runs, a hit, a man left. We've played an inning. It's Texas 1, Cleveland 0.
Your very own Derby competition in the official MLB.com Home Run Derby game. You can swing for the fences as your favorite Home Run Derby All-Star. Download on the App Store and Google Play.
Second inning, Rougned Odor will lead off for the Rangers. Corey Kluber into the line, and Odor takes a high fastball, 1-0. Odor 1 for 11 in the series. And a foul right back. And that's going to be out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now a line drive to center field and a base hit, just his second of the series, and the Rangers have their leadoff man aboard.
Took advantage of a pitch upstairs from Kluber, lined it right back up the middle. There it was. That looked good. Now that was a cutter that was upstairs and out over the plate, and that home run that Mazzara hit, the 0-2 pitch, they stayed up a little bit, but that was the third 0-2 home run that Kluber has given up this year.
Carlos Gomez, hitless in the series, 0 for 4, and has struck out all 4 times. And takes a strike. Got a piece of it into the glove of Gomes. Quickly, it's 0-2. Bounced in there.
The third 0-2 count for Corey this afternoon. This is only the 6th hitter. So again, just pounding the strike zone. 17 of his 21 pitches have been strikes.
Odor not a burner, but a threat to go. He's stolen 7 out of 11 on the year. And a foul right back. Shoots it out of play, right side. And the count stays a ball and 2 strikes.
Send our congratulations to Frank and Esther Cutlip of Hartville, celebrating their 54th anniversary. Congratulations. And Lorraine Hauer of Elyria, turning 96. Happy birthday.
Wow. Swung on and missed. Another strikeout for Kluber, his 3rd of the afternoon. 1 down here in the 2nd.
Just throwing this one off the plate. Started way off the plate and just kept going that way. And anytime you commit and one of Kluber's pitches starts off the plate and you're right-handed, boy, you better take it, because it's not going to stay there.
Robinson Chirinos. Truly a home run machine. He's homered in 4 straight games. Mike Napoli homered in 5 straight earlier this year for Texas.
Yeah, 4 straight for Chirinos. And the amazing thing about him, he only has this will be his 102nd at bat on the year. Only his 33rd game, so his home run per at bat ratio has got to be the best of anybody.
And that was really close. Odor called safe on the dive back. You know, if there's one way to get yourself in the lineup more, it's to keep hitting and hit home runs when you get opportunities. And Chirinos is probably, the way he's been swinging it, and as poorly as Lou Croy has swung it, he's probably going to get some more opportunities.
I would certainly think so. You know, and I bet if you ask him, you can't explain how the home runs are coming, and they come in bunches. He's just getting pitches and he's not fouling them off. He happens to be hitting them, and they're going out of the ballpark. He hit one to right center last night. It was a ton. It bounced in the Texas bullpen and got up to that Indians bullpen in right center field. Not an easy thing to do. Oh, and by the way, as of last night, there are over 1,000 home runs in baseball this month. That's, you know, amazing in its own right. And 2 days ago we had the lowest number we ever had, 25
for the season. Yeah, I mean the numbers just keep popping. The 0-1 runner goes, swing and a miss, and Gomes couldn't get a handle on it, so it'll be a steal for Odor, his 8th.
Well, and that's it. Sometimes you rush a little bit in the transfer, and you watch, he just doesn't get it into his hands. The footwork is quick, but you just didn't get that ball into the bare hand to where you can throw it. Got stuck or caught the end of the glove, so it'll be a stolen base. But Gomes has done a wonderful job throwing out runners this year.
And the 0-2 just missed outside with a good fastball. Went to a 4-seamer, but Chirinos not biting.
The 11th stolen base off Kluber this year, 11 out of 15.
Swung on and missed. He got him to go fish, and that's 4 strikeouts now for Kluber.
Well, the spin he can create on a baseball is amazing, and then when you slow it down, you can see that thing just going sideways. It's like a frisbee.
By the way, I mentioned that Chirinos has homered in 4 straight games. Longest streak since Mike Napoli homered in 5 straight, but that wasn't this year. That was April of 2012, so it was 5 years ago when Napoli did that for Texas. He's in his 3rd tour of duty with the Rangers ball club. And he's back doing what Mike Napoli does, which is hit a lot of home runs, but he will swing and miss and
strike out a lot.
Batting average below 200. But you can believe if you make a mistake, runner goes for 3rd, and with 2 down, they'll let him have that.
Yeah, they don't care. There was nobody even holding him. I mean, with 2 outs, you're concerned about nobody in sight, not even in the same zip code.
Now the 2-0 just did catch the outside corner with the cutter, and it's 2-1.
Well, that's a little gift. I don't think Napoli liked the call. Looks like a little wider strike zone today.
Able to lay off a high fastball, and that's normally a pitch that it's not in his nitro zone, but it's so tempting that we see him chase it.
When he gets the 2 strikes, you know, you get the count in your favor, and he can lay off of that pitch.
Got the outside corner, and that's at least the 3rd or 4th time in this series I've seen Napoli think he's had a walk and only to have to pick up his bat and stay in the batter's
this
box.
time it was the same as the other pitch he got a strike on, the 2-0 pitch, and he's thinking, I don't think so, and he let him know it again. So that's, both pitches were in the exact same spot, so keep it there.
Swung on and missed. He struck him out, throws the bat, slams his helmet, letting Rob Drake know he is not happy with his ability to call balls and strikes.
Last time, Jose Ramirez is closing in on the starting 3rd base spot for the All-Star game. Time is running out. You can vote 5 times a day and up to 35 times until 11:59 tonight. You got it right before midnight. Go to Indians.com and to cast your vote. He was 200,000 behind a few days ago. Right now, the gap has been closed to 30,000, so there's a chance. Get on it, get after it, and it's the last time I'm going to tell you.
And hey, a great job by the fans to
Good job.
help get Jose to the All-Star game, really closing things in on Miguel Sano of Minnesota.
Certainly deserves to be there.
And a strike call. Sano and the Twins will be in action later tonight at Fenway against David Price and the Red Sox. Now the 1-1, and a swing and a miss right over the top. Andrew Kashner getting the start today for Texas. 30 years old. In the dirt. He was one of those guys that came out of high school in Texas, Conroe High School, and right out of high school he was drafted in the 20th round by the Atlanta Braves. He said no thank you, went to Angelina Junior College, had a solid season, and the very next year the Rockies drafted him in the 18th round.
Change up.
Down on strikes is Ramirez. Once again he said no thank you, so he went back to Angelina Junior College, had another good year in 07, and then the Cubs drafted him in the 29th round. So he went from the 20th round to the 18th round and then back to the 29th round. So imagine that, 3 years in a row you get drafted thinking this is what you want to do, this is your lifelong dream, 3 years in a row, and he said no once again. Transferred to TCU. Went 9-4 that year with 9 saves and a 2.32 ERA for the Horned Frogs. And after all that, the Cubs made him their first-round pick.
All right.
So it had to be frustrating. It had to be a little bit of poker playing, wondering, am I doing the right thing? And it all worked out in the end. Made his major league debut with the Cubs in 2010. And then he's also pitched with the Padres and the Marlins before joining the Rangers. He was a 19th overall pick in that 08 draft. And a chopper over the mound. Charging is Andrus. Got a room service hop, throws him out. 2 down. The other thing, you know, when you've got a #1 pitcher like that, first-round pitcher, you can use him as a chip, and that's what the Padres did. They sent Anthony Rizzo to the Cubs to get Cashner. Now that's one of those deals that's worked out very well for the Cubs because Rizzo has become one of the cornerstones of that Cubs ball club. And then the Padres ultimately turned around and traded Cashner to the Marlins. And a multi-player deal as Santana fouls one back. And then he went to free agency and signed on with Texas. But you know, he's also further evidence that even a first-round pick doesn't guarantee you a #1 starter or a cornerstone guy of your rotation.
Not in baseball.
And understanding that one-loss records sometimes can be misleading because his career ERA coming into this year was under 4 at 3.89, but his record was just 31-53. The only winning season he's had was in 2013 with the Padres when he went 10-9. He's never pitched 200 innings in a season. But I don't know the way general managers may look at things sometimes. Okay, maybe he didn't perform on the field to the level we anticipated, but as a trade chip, he may have brought them something in return. I mean, obviously, if you're the Cubs, you're thinking, we got Anthony Rizzo. That's a pretty good deal.
Goodness.
He worked out well for us.
And never held, yes.
Ripped to right field. No, it's stolen by Odor. A terrific leaping catch by the second baseman. And he steals a hit from Santana. Indians go in order. We go to the third, 1-0 Texas.
Later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Heading into the top of the third, Corey Kluber back out there. He's going to face Gallo, Chu, and Andrus, the scheduled hitters. Texas leading it 1-0. They got a 2-out 0-2 home run back in the first inning to take the lead, and the leadoff single, and their 2 hits. The Indians with just 1 hit so far today.
And Rick, wouldn't you say Gallo is the perfect example of where baseball has gone? Look at that batting average. Look at the RBI and home run. He's hitting 194, but he gets to play every day.
He gets to play every day. He has 20 homers and 40 RBIs. You're right. But we see more and more teams like this, Andre, whether it be Tampa or Oakland or Texas and
Houston, even to a certain extent when you look at it. But you know, the other thing I thought in the offseason with Mike Napoli and others, we saw how teams really think of these type of power hitters too. You know what I mean?
Yes. You go up there and, you know, they don't frown upon the strikeout much anymore. But if you hit them when you're hot, which we're getting a good look at Texas this series on how they score.
Well, and the Indians went through a period of time, and we talked before the game, but we can bring it up now. The Indians went through a period of time where they didn't score if they didn't hit home runs.
Right.
But you look at the strikeout guys. Gallo's got 20. Chris Davis, I believe, has 24, 25.
Yeah.
Signo has 18, I believe, and will be in the home run hitting contest.
Right.
Is it that bad if you're striking out that much, but you're also driving in 45?
No.
And, you know?
No, it's not. Not anymore. It's not. You know, but those are the big boys that have the strikeouts. I don't like to see the guys, the middle infielders, and the guys that have to put the ball in play that aren't home run hitters that are striking out a lot. And there's a few of those as well. Change up to Gallo. That'll push it to a 3-2 count.
And Gallo seems like one of those traditional lefties, though. If he gets to drop his hands inside, it goes a long way.
You find his zone, and he's about as strong as there is. So Kluber coming with the 3-2 pitch. Missed with a high fastball, his first walk. Let's take a look at the home run given up by Corey back in the first inning. The sequence of pitches. He goes fastball right at him for strike 1, and he fouled one off, a little cutter. Then he's going to throw the slider and miss with it on the inner part of the plate. Did it get in enough. And Mazzara ended up hitting his 11th home run.
You want to know the unbelievable thing about that? And I know most people are going, wow, he missed with that pitch, gave up a home run. That is the first home run given up on that pitch since September 6th of last season.
On the slider?
Yes. Guys were hitting 134 slugging percentage against that slider. So that's just how the game works when you miss, right?
Well, sometimes you miss and they pop it up. They didn't that time. Oh, they got him. The throwing behind by Gomes. Getting Gallo stranded off first base. He wasn't even stealing. He just drifted a little too far away.
I think we may have got a replay on this, but this is a great throw by Gomes.
Gomes goes behind him. You got the left-handed batter in the batter's box. It's a high throw. Does he get the hand in? Let's take a look.
Got him.
It looks like he got him. You're right.
Well, Santana's foot is what made the play. He couldn't get that right hand back in because he went into Santana's foot, I believe.
Well, that's what you do. You can block that bag if they come in head first, and they're not going to challenge it. So Gomes is going to get himself a pickoff. Nice throw and a nice tag by Santana to get Gallo wandering off at first base. So the first out of the inning.
How does that happen, though, Arch?
Yeah,
I mean,
you know
honestly.
what? You don't think the guy's going to throw behind you once the ball gets past the hitter.
And I know it's a lefty up and everything else, but how do you get that far off the bag where you can't get back?
Well, it's his fault. You shouldn't. He's a big guy. He's not a base stealer per se, but once the ball goes past the hitter, you have to hustle and get back. And he was just out a little too far. Watch let's see the secondary lead, Andre. See what he does. Okay. Shuffle, shuffle. Okay, now you got to get back, and he just wasn't. He pulled his right hand back.
Right. That's because he went into Santana's leg and he pulled the hand back. That's why he's out. It wasn't that bad of a secondary lead.
She's going to pop this one up to center. It'll stay in the ballpark. It'll be out number 2.
Injury report brought to you by the attorneys at Elk & Elk. It will be.
That's just a tease. That's what we call a tease here. We'll get it when we feel.
Andre's healthy. He's here.
I'm good. You're good.
We're all good. Mark
We're
Melanson.
putting Andre on the DL today before we leave.
I'll stay home for the weekend. Just don't tell my family.
2 down. Elvis Andrus struck out his only time up. Corey Kluber has struck out 5 in the first 2 innings, but boy, you get a pick off after a leadoff walk. That's a huge lift for him because he doesn't walk many. But I'll say this for Joey Gallo. He may strike out a bunch, but at least in this series, he's drawn 5 walks against the 4 strikeouts.
Matt, you're right. And I think the thing about him, though, when he hits the ball, and I don't want to be one of those guys that goes into the percentage of his hits, you know, when he hits the ball, but it's got to be most of them are home runs when he gets hits.
Yeah, you look at it, his batting average is below 200, but let's take a look real quick. And his on base percentage, it's 298, so not great, but it does, you know, when you're hitting under 200, draw enough walks to get your on base percentage up a little bit. Andrus chasing, and it's 2-2.
Do you worry about a guy like Gallo where he has some success in the big leagues hitting the home run that maybe he doesn't develop more of he become more of an average hitter as he goes along? You know, it seems like in the past you would get a guy to at least hit 260, 270 and then let him play in the big leagues. Or does he just become a 200 hitter?
I mean, Russell Brandon lasted a long time doing the exact same thing. I think
Gallo's a rookie. You got to give him a year or 2 to get used to the league and the pitchers. You got to understand that. He's hit 20 home runs and it's his first year. I mean, he's a kid.
But let's also remember that batting average is not the barometer it once used to be.
Correct.
If you can hit for power, you're still going to get opportunities.
Well, Dave Kingman did it for a long time too, didn't he?
Weak tapper to third. Ramirez on the move, throws him out. Middle of the third. It's still Texas 1, Cleveland nothing. Injury report.
Melanson on the DL now. Right elbow. Nick Ahmed.
Yeah, San Francisco, their season is pretty much over. 30-51, dead last in the NL West.
Well, a couple of Yankees on there, and they've slowed it down. Where
yeah, Boston's in a dead heat with the Yankees going into today. Yan Gomes. Line drive to shallow center, and it's going to drop for a base hit. Check just the second hit for Cleveland today. And they get their leadoff man aboard.
this ball gets in on the trademark of Gomes, and he has the big swing, but check it out. We told you in the series that they play deep in the outfield. I don't think Gomez plays as deep as DeShields does, but that one was going to fall in anyway because it got off the trademark. But it's a base hit for Gomes.
Bradley Zimmer. You know, I mentioned San Francisco dead last in the National League West. We saw Colorado. Whew, and when we saw them, they were clicking. But they've now lost 8 in a row. And yet, even despite having lost 8 straight and falling 5.5 out, they would be leading 3 other divisions in baseball right now.
That's the kind of start they got off to. Yeah, their pitching starting to struggle a little bit now. But that's the thing. You can afford to have a little, you know, setback when you get off to a start like they had. When you start off badly, you don't have a chance to. You got to continue to play well the rest of the year if you get off to a bad start.
Up and away. And while the wild card is certainly no guarantee for postseason success, the Rockies, as long as they don't have a complete failure, they're in pretty good position one way or the other. That whole division, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Rockies, they could all 3 end up in the postseason. Bradley Zimmer with a 3-ball 1-strike count. Indians leadoff hitters have gone 9 for 20 in the series with 7 walks. So 16 times they've been able to reach base. Actually more than that, because I think Kipnis reached on an error. So that would be 17. And we had a hit batter, 18.
They've done a good job doing that, no doubt.
Off the plate. They're going to have to hurry. Zimmer flies down the line, and he's safe.
Well, there you go. Once that ball hit, they know he's starting to put pressure on defenses, at least infielders. When he hits a ball and tops it like he did, infielders know they got to get rid of it in a hurry. And it was bang, bang. And let's take a look. Here comes the throw. Well, there goes his padding that flies off his foot, but it looked like he had it down before that ball gets in Napoli's glove. Yes, I think it's going to stay.
They may ask him to review it, but this is going to be a tough one to get overturned, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think he beat it anyway. That was bang, bang, and great hustle.
Well, interesting in that going out right now, Jeff Bannister, he's not asking for a challenge. He's going out for some kind of clarification from Jerry Davis.
Is he looking at interference on a base runner from Gomes to his second baseman, not letting him get into the ball? That's what I'm thinking. Because what else can he be talking to the crew chief about? See, he's talking about right there. I want to see. Let's see. Here he comes. Here comes Gomes going to second base. Cuts in front of Odor.
No contact.
And there you see the hands.
Yeah.
He didn't interfere with him or anything like that. So he's explaining it to Bannister. That's what he's looking for. Is a little maybe interference call.
The ball, he had plenty 5 feet by him by the time the ball got there.
Yeah. Good hustle. That's going to go as an infield single. So back-to-back singles. Have the third inning started off well and going back to the top of the lineup.
All right, so 2 on, nobody out. Kipnis coming up. Jason Kipnis flied to right his first time up. Indians have their best opportunity so far today. Cashner, he's got a good fastball still, 95 miles an hour. It jumps on you. Boy, the Indians have had so many opportunities in this series. This is their 50th at bat with a runner in scoring position. They're 18 for 49. And Kipnis taking just inside 1-1.
Cashner has induced 10 double plays this year. He likes to go to that little two-seamer when he gets into situations like this to get the guy to roll over on the ball. Got a very good changeup as well. goes straight down.
Rip foul. And Kipnis is in the hole, 1-2. Nice grab. Yes, sir. Take a bow. Guy with a Charger shirt over there.
It's
How about
more
that?
than a
Dan
bow.
Fouts. Two on, nobody out. 1-2 pitch, and it's in the dirt. Goes to the backstop. They'll both move up.
Well, thank you very much.
A wild pitch puts two in scoring position, and the count evens for Kipnis.
That's his 8th wild pitch on the year. It's a curveball. Now watch how far Chirinos has to go out to get this ball. And it's almost in the back foot of Kipnis.
Yeah.
It goes off his glove.
Yeah.
It's not easy when you got that left-handed batter to go in there when you're the catcher to make that play. How many balls were thrown in the dirt last night by Darvish?
At least a dozen, I think.
It was very, yeah, I would think so.
I know at one point we counted it was 9, and I had to go up from there. Here's the 2-2. Kipnis with a fly ball softly hit to right, charging his Chew.
Not going to get
Got
it
a
done.
good throwing arm and no challenge from Gomes.
Not with not with Gomes on there. It was not deep enough. It was hit off the end of the bat.
And that's out number 1.
You could tell just from the off the bat and the sound of it went off the end. Chew's going to come in, and you're bluffing the throw right there to pick it up. And that's all Gomes could do right there. Not his fault. It wasn't hit deep enough. You're not taking a chance. So Lindor has an opportunity now to at least tie the score with a ground ball.
This has been the Indians' best inning this year as far as production. They have scored 60. They've allowed 28. So they're plus 32 in the 3rd inning this year in run differential. And that's outside ball 1. I think a lot of that does come back to where the lineup turns over. It's maybe a second look for some of the hitters in the top part of the lineup.
Back-to-back changeups from Cashner, and right now there you go, Frankie. You take that pitch. He's got to come to you here. You have first base open.
It's really comforting to see Lindor have some patience, because in run scoring situations,
yes,
he's been overly aggressive, and I think pitchers are starting to take advantage of that at times.
Yeah, he expands his strike zone instead of tightening it up. It'll get it done and get the run in.
Odor thought about going home. At least he looked that way, and I think he bobbled it. I don't know if he was legitimately thinking about going home.
I don't think it was hit hard enough for him to go home. It was hit. He was just taking a peek. It wasn't hit hard enough. He would have done the Indians a favor if he throws it home. And that again was a little off the end of the bat for Frankie, but he gets the run home and he ties the game up.
And the go-ahead run moves 90 feet away. Bradley Zimmer now down at 3rd. And Michael Brantley, who doubled down the right field line his first time up as the batter. Brantley is 3 for 8 in the series, or make it 4 for 9 in the series, with a couple of runs driven in. And it's high ball 1. So add another run to the Indians' totals this year in the 3rd inning. They're now plus 33 in the run differential. Good patience by Michael. It's 3-0 with Carlos, or with Edwin Encarnacion waiting on deck. Cashner has not walked a batter so far today. Has struck out a pair. And Brantley works a 4-pitch
He's
walk.
saying, where the heck is that pitch? And he's getting it into a barb with the home plate umpire.
Did you see him snap the ball back from the catcher when he threw it?
Well, I'll tell you what, there's been some pitches off the plate called strikes. And he's saying that one was low. And Cashner, where is that pitch? He said it was down. He's showing he didn't like it. That's his first walk today.
He is not a happy camper, and Elvis Andrus going to try to settle him down, because one thing you don't want is a pitcher to be emotional. That's when they tend to make mistakes. It was 83 at game time. It's overcast, a little humidity in the air. Everybody's a little salty today with his noon start.
Well, a little salty. The day game after the night game, a quick turnaround.
Tie game. Indians with a chance here to break the tie. Encarnacion awaits the pitch, and he swings through it. Bradley Zimmer, go ahead run at third. Brantley at first, held on by Napoli. In the dirt, gets away. Here comes Zimmer. And the throw to the plate is not in time. Zimmer safe. Cashner argues with home plate umpire Rob Drake to no avail.
Well, he's going to look at his manager, and he's frustrated because this ball got away, but Zimmer got the foot in. And as a pitcher, you can't try and block the plate when you're coming in with your spikes. I love the slide, and he was safe. He got the foot in. It was a nice try by Chirinos, but by the time he flipped it, Cashner was there. I don't know what Michael Brantley was waiting for at first base. He should have been standing on second. Here you go. The ball comes in. He's sliding in, and puts in there.
Safe. Clearly safe.
There's this, and they're
no
not
challenge from Texas.
You can let them challenge, but they won't win it. That was just great hustle there by the kid. Beautiful, well done.
Second wild pitch of the inning, and it's costly for Cashner. So 2 down, and now Brantley in the scoring position as the Indians lead it 2-1. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count for Encarnacion. High pop-up. Left center. Boy, that's tough. Sunfield.
That thing blew to left center, almost a center field.
Gomez ends up catching it, and that ends the inning. But the Indians manufacture a couple of runs here in the third, and it's 2-1 Cleveland. Inning, and we go to the bullpen, sort of. Jensen Lewis going to join us here.
It's a little 2-inning stint.
Couple
That's
innings,
all.
yeah. Corey Kluber has been Corey Kluber. Gives up the solo home run, but that's kind of the Texas MO. And he's had the strikeout pitch working. He's got 5 already.
I'll tell you what, give a shout out to Bradley Zimmer. Best Willie Mays Hayes interpretation or impression I think we've seen getting the lead there. What a fantastic and creative slide on the fly. But you're right, man, the way this game started and with Kluber's stuff, you could see some history today if he keeps it going.
Gets ahead of Nomar Mazara, who hit an 0-2 pitch for a home run in that first inning after Corey had struck out the first 2.
That was the third 0-2 home run this year that Kluber has given up.
I think Nomar 0 for 11 coming into that at bat. You mentioned the only mistake that he has made today.
Well, that was the first time Andre threw this in that he gave up a home run on the slider since last September. So it's been a while.
But that was a pitch. And again, you know, we've had these conversations amongst ourselves. I've talked to Corey about it. Slider, curveball, slurve, whatever hybrid term you want to use. That one had was a little slower and had a little more spin, and it just kind of hung.
Yeah, you can tell right off the top. Usually when he's in command, those first couple of innings, other than that pitch, it's been right off the top of his fastball. You won't see the hump in it as much, and he's had that unique ability, Matty. You talk about whether guys go back to the dugout and say, all right, well, I saw a curveball, and then somebody else comes back and says, well, it looked more like a slider to me. He's had that unique ability to speed it up, slow it down, tighten it. And I'll tell you what, as an opposing hitter, when you go back and you got guys already thinking in the first inning, what the heck did I just see? You're going to be in great shape.
3-2 count for Mazara. Kluber walked Gallo to start the third inning on a 3-2 pitch.
Another thing you do now for a shutdown opportunity right through the middle of the order, too. 3, 4, 5 for Klubs.
Ground ball to Kipnis. Fields it cleanly. 1 away. Kia in the driver's seat today. Active home run leaders, Albert Pujols at the top of the list. Miguel Cabrera, and then Adrian Beltre. Not far behind. Carlos Beltran, then Edwin Encarnacion among the active home run swingers.
Well, Beltre, no doubt a Hall of Famer.
What a way to get number 450 as well, Arch. Game winner.
He's done that 4 times here in Cleveland, 16 times in his career. A go-ahead home run in the 9th inning or later. So, of all the things he does, plays great defense, hits power, hits for average, and clutch too. That's the one variable that you can't always say about everybody.
You know, I know Cody said that he thought he made and executed a good pitch. To me, in that situation, Arch, knowing that Beltre has always been a good high ball hitter, and you don't want to give him a chance to get the barrel extended.
With the game on the line, I wouldn't throw this guy a first pitch fastball ever. You know, late in the ball game. Look at he has 599 doubles to go with it, so you can see the extra base hits in his career. He has been to me one of the best third basemen to ever play the game.
Now the 0-2, a little high.
Now watch, here's the pitch the other night we're talking about. Watch, it's high, but it's not high enough.
No.
Because this guy can expand his strike zone. If he's looking for something upstairs, he'll get after it. He can get down to one knee. He just, he has a flair for the dramatics, and Texas missed this guy through the first part of the year, no doubt.
Just what looked like he was feeling for that pitch, and he flies to center. And that's the thing about Beltre. I suppose it's not really all that uncommon, but when you think about power hitters, his swing at times is just absolutely vicious.
I think when you're reading hitters, Matty and Arch, I think this is something else as well. For me, when I was coming in late in the ball game, and Beltre is kind of closed off with his feet, so it appears that he's closer to that inside corner. That might give you the mirage that I really can't get it in there too much because I might hit him, but he's got such quick hands that if you do elevate it, he's got enough juice he can take it out anywhere.
Here's Rougned Odor. He had a base hit his first time up, but Rangers stranded him at third. Gomes tried to grab it quickly, but it was behind the plate.
Well, people were asking last night, why pitch Cody Allen 3 nights in a row? And I thought Tito made a great point and said, hey, bouncing back for a noon game, always difficult. Doesn't matter if you're position player or reliever, but in that instance, to me, I thought it was going to be a confidence booster for Cody. You don't want to have that lingering about the first couple outings, and you want to try and get a clean slate.
Speaking of a clean slate, it's a 1-2-3-4 for Corey Kluber. He responds by shutting down Texas 2-1 try, middle of the fourth. Lonnie Chisnall, we talked about, he's been red hot. Jose Ramirez, even better. Edwin Encarnacion has provided the power with 7 homers. But look, a lot of people say baseball doesn't start till June. They're not the ones that cover it, obviously. But, you know, you start, when your best hitters start to really find their stride and start to get hot like this, it's usually a good sign of what's ahead. Ramirez, a little roller to second, and Odor takes care of him on 1 pitch.
He's got a very good changeup so far this afternoon. He's been able to have guys out on the front foot. Cashing that changeup. It's a 3-fingered changeup. It's not actually like the circle change, and it seems to go straight down in the strike zone.
What he's done very well, Arch, he's maintained great fastball arm speed between both those pitches. He came into today a $138 in 2-day road starts. And so he's been able to really command the fastball. He's stayed ahead. Been impressive so far.
Down low to Brandon Guyer, who grounded out his only time up.
This is going to be the grip. See the changeup right there, how deep he holds it?
Yeah.
It almost slides off his middle finger, and it just seems to go straight down.
Pulls like a window shade. You know, when you're younger and you're learning the pitch for the first time, some guys will kind of over rotate with the wrist, and they tell you, hey, just like pulling a lampshade down. So you kind of just deaden the wrist, and it'll deaden the ball as it gets to home plate. And
let's be honest, nobody knows what that is anymore.
Well, hey, some millennials out there still have pulled a lampshade in their time.
They got to hit the switch,
they got a number.
on-off switch.
Yeah, they've got a button now. It's like the hotel in Seattle.
That's what fella used to say.
You got the shades that go up and down with that. Yeah.
Like pulling down the window shade.
That was Big Bob, man. That's right.
Guyer rolls one to short and scooped up there by Andrus. 2 down.
All right, the Ballpark app. Download MLB's free Ballpark app to securely manage your tickets and skip lines by gaining access to our mobile-only gates. Plus, you'll unlock special offers from our partner, KeyBank, and more. Visit Indians.com for more info.
Carlos Santana has filed charges against Rougned Odor for robbery. Santana hit a line drive that he was going to try to bunt with that shift on, but pitch wasn't there.
Not a good idea with 2 strikes. Go ahead and swing it.
With 2 outs, you mean? Yeah.
Or yeah, with 2 outs, right.
I think he's still angry about that last at bat. Maybe I'm gonna get even.
I was always fascinated, when this started happening a lot late in ball games for relievers. We were always so against it because you're pitching to your strengths, and sometimes that would force the hitter to go the opposite way. Look at all the real estate Carlos Santana has to deal with on the left side, and obviously Joey Gallo, not the fleetest of feet. But man, there's a ton of real estate, Arch. I mean, this.
I'm surprised more hitters don't try to take advantage of that late in the ball game. You're right.
2-1. And it's outside, 3 balls and a strike.
I understand the analytics behind it, and you're playing the percentages. But to me, maybe earlier in the ball game, it makes a ton of sense. I know we're just starting to get in the middle of it here, but man, when you get a close game at the end, you want to try and let your relievers pitch to their strengths.
Carlos draws a 2-out walk. And we'll bring up Yan Gomes.
Walk number 2 for Cashner. He struck out 2. Got 2 wild pitches. And that last wild pitch is what cost him that second run. Great hustle by Bradley Zimmer.
These guys have been so good at being able to capitalize off mistakes the past couple of weeks. Road trip, man, you go 7-1, you've got to be able to take advantage of opportunities, no question. But it seemed like everything that was thrown at them, they did what they had to do. Great base running. Arch, I know it's something that Tito has mentioned since he got here, being able to take the extra base. We've seen more of that as of late. Guys going first to third. It was big last night.
Yeah, and then they made a mistake too.
Right.
For, Ramirez first and third, and then he tries to go to second base. But you know what? That's when you actually see base runners, is when the mistakes are made. You say, oh my goodness, but you have to stay aggressive doing it. You just have to realize, don't make any outs on the bases.
I've always been a proponent that expectations are a dangerous thing, whether they be internal or external. And you look at this Indians ball club, and we know externally the expectations are enormous for this club this year. Internally, hard to gauge, because guys are going to be coy. They're not going to come out and tell you their true feelings about expectations for the year. We know that they want to win. They know they want to get back and win a world championship. But Jensen, the Jekyll and Hyde nature of this club, over the weekend they look horrendous against Minnesota, and then they've bounced back, had that incredible come from behind win against Texas in the series opener. They've won 2 out of 3. A win here today would give them the series against the Rangers. It's hard to figure out which club this really is this year.
I look at the comeback as kind of and I know you guys were talking about it, perhaps maybe, let's not use the turning point, but a game you look back and say something changed for this ball club. And having been through times where you just get absolutely pasted, it's embarrassing. These guys are professionals. There's no guy that goes out there, in particular Carrasco, who had been rolling at that point, wanting to give up the kind of home runs that he did, let alone homers. So I thought it was great to see guys in the dugout really getting at each other, young, old, saying enough is enough. It's time to get back to playing the brand of baseball we know how.
Low, full count, and the key is often debated. If you want to look at that, and you won't know until later, was that a true turning point? It's how you respond from that moment. It's not just that moment, but does it have a carryover and a residual effect?
I think the adversity for any ball club, and you don't have to go through injuries to go through adversity, but guys that just aren't playing the potential, aren't playing consistently. Tito uses the phrase of, we've been consistently inconsistent. Well, what was it last year when they got on that big 14-game winning streak? Every starting pitcher said, I'm going to do a little bit better than what that guy did yesterday.
Yeah.
The bullpen took it upon himself. No inherited runners scored. Or if you're in a situation where you can minimize damage, do your job. And then the offense with runners in scoring position was just magnificent.
Bouncing ball to second. Odor will throw out Gomes to end the inning. We've played 4. It's the Indians 2 and the Rangers 1. is brought to you by Levin Furniture. For the best deals on furniture and mattresses, shop Levin's. And by your Northern Ohio Honda dealers. Made in Ohio, Ohio proud. 2-1 Cleveland on top. And as we go to the 5th inning, Matt Underwood, Rick Manning, Andre Knott as usual. And we've got Jensen Lewis here in the 4th and 5th innings today. Corey Kluber has struck out 5. He's given up 1 run on a solo homer in the 1st inning. He's retired the last 5 in a row.
And Kiefer Klubs and what he's done pretty well 2nd and 3rd time around the lineup, especially once he's had the lead. Getting ahead with that fastball and mixing in the breaking ball really well.
Swing and a miss. The way Corey has pitched here in the month of June, it's been special. We talked about he has an opportunity to be the American League Player of the Month with a 1.29 ERA coming in this month. I want to ask your kind of perspective on, think back to like 07 when CC was just steamrolling through the league. Even
Carmona.
Fausto was unbelievable.
Yep.
Is there ever a tendency to go out into the bullpen and say, I pretty much have nothing to do today?
When we played the Twins, when we played the Twins in the Metrodome, and Arch, maybe you remember this as well. I think when Johan Santana matched up against us, it was a 2-hour, 10-minute game because it was Carmona or Sabathia. 1-0, 2-1, efficient. I mean, I think the one time Carmona threw, 115 pitches, 102 of them were sinkers. And it was just, here's 95-mile-an-hour bowling balls right at you. No nonsense. Yeah, you have a tendency, Matty. I would agree with that. You just know guys that are rolling. Kluber today, particularly on a quick turnaround. You got a guy in Cody Allen who's enjoying watching today's game because he knows he's going to get a breather. But Miller, as Kluber gets his 6th strikeout right there, it changes your mentality about how you approach certain appearances.
Well, he's been vintage Corey Kluber. Backdoor cutter, breaking ball.
12 of the 16 hitters that he has faced, he has gotten to 2 strikes. And we gave you the numbers on Texas with 2 strikes. You can dominate him, and he has done that today.
Robinson Chirinos struck out his only time up.
I think what you see, Matty, on those replays too, and the advantage of having that bullpen where those guys, geez, that was nasty. When you got guys swinging at him, it's a foot like that. I mean, that pitch starts on the outside portion, maybe even the black right there, and going into the other batter's box. You know that some of these guys are just guessing up there big time.
Swung on and missed. See, there's a case where he can change the speed of that breaker up, make the tilt maybe a little bit more, and the hitter's just fooled by the change in speed.
And now you can probably throw it 55 feet, and Chirinos is in auto hack mode.
He's coming back with it. Oh, and he got him again. That's number 7 for Kluber. He's fanned Gomez and Chirinos both twice today.
Little good morning, good afternoon, good night. How about the secondary stuff, as we've talked about, not only since he's been back from the DL, but Arch, you see the dime spin behind and kind of the little hybrid slider cutter. Then he's going to mix it one more time down and away. You see a big time swing and miss. How about this one right here? That's a nice, good breaking ball. A little curve ball, tilt to it. Matty, you talked about it. You can see what these guys are trying to deal with. The quarter spin there, it tells you the variance that Kluber's able to mix up with that off speed.
And then he gets ahead of Napoli with a little 2-seam fastball. Started it off the plate, just ran it right back over. Napoli was literally fit to be tied his last at bat.
He's not been happy to return home other than get that ring.
To center, in comes Zimmer. 9 pitches, 9 strikes. The Rangers go in order, and Kluber has retired 8 straight. daughter Hadley. And over in Uncle Steve's lap is Dashiell. Like father, like son, he's asleep at work.
No, he's not. He's just watching the game like Murph does.
Everybody having a great day at the yard, and the Indians lead it 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Bradley Zimmer to lead it off.
Matty, you asked, what we do as bullpen guys when you got a guy like Kluber on the mound. Well, just what Dash is doing. He's taking out. He's got the lead. All right, we're done.
Bradley Zimmer manufacturing the Indians' go-ahead run. I mean, that was pure, that's what I love about speed. Probably because I never had it, but it's fun to watch people that do have it. Tops one off the plate, beats it off just by pure leg speed, and then he ends up scoring on the wild pitch.
What a weapon! What a weapon at the bottom of the lineup too.
Zimmer is down on strikes. 3rd strikeout of the day for Andrew Castro. Let's watch back in that 3rd inning.
It was bang bang at first, but he's getting down the line. Those long strides, he beats it out. And then here he had a tremendous jump.
Read.
He goes to the outside part, and he went with his foot, not the hand, like so many guys try to get that hand in there now. He went with his foot, and those long legs of his, he gets in there safely.
Good friend Dennis Maniloff nicknaming him Daddy Longlegs. And that definitely worked to perfection on that slide right there.
Top of the order, Jason Kipnis 0 for 2. Twice he's flied to right today. Out of play. Jensen Lewis with us here in the 4th and 5th innings. You can see him before and after every Indians game here on Sports Time Ohio, along with Al Pulaski on Indians Live.
So 3rd time around the order now is, Cashner still matching pitch for pitch. See what the Indians offense can get going.
To left, Mazzara. Never a sure thing. He makes the catch. 2 down.
Want a Francisco Lindor bobblehead? Well, the 15,000 fans who are here to receive one, courtesy of Sherwin-Williams on July 4th. Well, they'll be playing the Pirates from 5 to 7 p.m. Fans can enjoy $2 domestic cans in the right field district, presented by Miller Lite. And after the game, there will be an America Rocks themed fireworks presented by Blaster. Visit Indians.com for tickets.
Now, we don't want to run on people from Pittsburgh rolling over. It's the Padres. I think Gary tried to trip you up there, slip the Pirates in on you. But yeah, San Diego Interleague has not been kind to the Indians this year.
Terrible.
If you look at maybe a silver lining, guys, we're getting the bottom 2 teams, and we'll play San Diego here.
I don't play it that way. It doesn't matter what position you're in. You still have to win the games.
I'll tell you what, though, you guys, I know you're going to begin the second half out on the West Coast. You'll play in Oakland, and boy, it'll seem like a complete culture shock coming back to San Francisco. What a beautiful facility they have out there. It'll be packed every night. Tough year for them. The injury to Bumgarner. It sounds like he's on the mend quicker than they thought, but man, you're 23 games out of first. It's bad year.
Well, and that's we were talking about it earlier, that National League West. I mean, the Dodgers have been playing out of their mind. Colorado's been playing great, and all of a sudden they hit the skids and they're 5.5 out before you can figure out what happened.
That's what a rookie rotation, 4 of the 5, and you're playing in that division, as you mentioned, Matty. Dodgers, just a veteran club. They understand what they're doing, and got the infusion of Cody Bellinger, who's been, arguably the story of the National League. But Colorado, their staff ERA, I think, is almost 10 in that 8-game losing streak you were talking about.
Broke his bat. Gallo gathers it and throws him out. All right, Jensen, we'll see you after.
Bring it home, boys. We'll see you after.
All right, Indians go in order. 5 complete. Corey Kluber leading it 2-1. travel to the Motor City to take on the Tigers. Josh Tomlin will go for Cleveland. Indians Live kicks off our coverage at 6:30. First pitch at 7. Swing into summer on Sports Time Ohio and Fox Sports Go. Presented by Click It or Ticket. It's a 1-run game.
Yeah, going into the 6th inning. It's actually been a good game. Only 5 hits in this ball game. Texas has 2. The Indians have 3.
Joey Gallo walked his only time up in the 3rd and then was promptly picked off by Kluber. Can't swing any harder than that. It's 0-1. Up and away. Gallo in the series 1 for 5. He's walked 5 times. He has struck out 4 times, and the 1 hit, a home run.
That was on a breaking ball going to left center field.
Bullet foul. Tommy broke down his hits. I think it was Andre was asking earlier about, with his batting average below 200, how his hits break out. He's got 20 home runs. He also has 11 doubles, 2 triples, and a dozen singles.
And 4 stolen bases, hasn't been caught, but he's a big guy, and as I mentioned earlier, he's just a rookie. He can tighten it up and get better. Lays off a nice changeup from Kluber. Hey, this guy had nothing left to prove down in the minor leagues anyway.
Right.
You got to come up to the big leagues. You have to learn. They just couldn't find a spot for him. But he started at 3rd base when Beltre was injured early in the year, and now he's moved to 1st for the most part.
Swung on and missed, and Kluber took advantage of him there with his 8th strikeout of the afternoon. You can see Gallo goes with the big swing, and Kluber just, I mean, that pitch disappeared.
Well, and again, he just continues to dominate at home with the strikeouts. There's 8 more again.
Over 100 strikeouts on the year for Corey Kluber.
He had 40 pitches the first time through the lineup, 36 the second time.
And he entered the inning having thrown 12 consecutive strikes. Doesn't mean they were all in the zone, but he pitches so effectively that hitters, they chase because he's around the strike zone all the time. Not a guy you want to get behind on. 2 down. In-game recap brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. It was an 0-2 breaking ball that Nomar Mazara hit out in the 1st for the Rangers' only run. Indians got back in the 3rd. Back-to-back singles started the inning. Lindor with a ground out brought home Gomes, and then Zimmer with some heads-up base running, able to avoid the tag and give the Indians a 2-1 lead.
That's right. The Indians just with a ground ball out and a wild pitch is how they're on the board, and that's why they have the lead, because of the great job that Corey Kluber has done.
Elvis Andrus 0 for 2 has struck out, grounded out. Up and away, 2-0.
.55 of his 80 pitches have been strikes.
How you make your money. The 2-2. As a wise hitter once told me, no hitter makes his living hitting that 3-2 slider on the black. You make your living by taking advantage when pitchers make mistakes. You get a guy like Kluber when he's on it, it's a tough day for the hitters. And the payoff. Got him. Corey Kluber has struck out 9 Texas Rangers in 6 innings of work. And he just keeps rolling along, retiring the last 11 in a row. Last night, Dr. Smooth. Brantley with an RBI single in the 3rd and another RBI hit in the 7th inning.
He's been on twice today. He's doubled and he's walked. And doubled again.
Deep right field down the line. It hits right at the base of the wall. And Brantley will go into second base with a leadoff double. And that's double number 15 for Brantley, his 2nd of the afternoon. Boy, what's he got on Andrew Cashner that nobody else has seemed to figure out so far?
Well, there's a breaking ball that Cashner left middle of the plate, and it was up a little bit. Brantley took advantage of it. Drilled it right at the base of the wall. He comes back to Chu, but not before Brantley can get in there. He has 2 of the 4 hits for the Indians, both doubles.
Let's go down to Andre.
You know, I got a quick question for you guys. I'm amazed that Michael Brantley's been able to come back, whether it be from last season or even his last stint on the DL. And it seems like his rhythm has never been changed. And it seems like he has a rhythmic swing. It's got to be amazing to be able to do that, because Art, you constantly tell us.
That shattered base hit, and the shard bat hit the pitcher, Andrew Cashner, and he's down on the mound. Brantley scores on the play. And now they're going to check and make sure Cashner's all right. I'm not clear where it struck him, but I think it might have got him on his pitching arm.
It looked like his right arm. He was looking down on it. He jammed Encarnacion, and the barrel went flying, and the ball went to first base as Napoli was off the bag. But they're on there. They're holding that right arm. We did not see it. Let's take a look here. It's directly at him. He wasn't even looking at it, and then he didn't have a chance to get out of the way. He was looking at the ball. And you know, a pitcher's first instinct is to go to first base when they see the ball that way, and it clipped him really good on that right arm.
I think the thing you worry about is if it's that sharp shattered edge, it could possibly have cut him, but I don't think it did. Otherwise, we'd see a lot more medical attention out there. And now it's just a matter of, is he okay?
Well, I'll tell you what, not a lot of time for reaction. You know, he wasn't, he knew he made a good pitch, but it came down and it clipped him very good.
So Michael Brantley scoring on the play from second base makes it 3-1 Cleveland. And now Encarnacion at first. And Jose Ramirez 0 for 2, the batter. That's the Indians' 20th hit, by the way, in the series, with a runner in scoring position. I think, Andre, you were right in the middle of a sentence when that bat shattered. And
I'm afraid to say anything when the pitch coming after what we just saw.
I have to be honest. I completely forgot what you were talking about, so I apologize.
No, don't. I was just talking about Brantley and how he's been able to stay consistent without a lot of playing time. The one thing Arch told us last year when he was out, that it was going to take time to get his timing back, but you don't see that when he's up to the plate so far.
No, and I mean, even after this most recent stint on the DL, he jumped right back in there, and he's hit. And Ramirez is hitting too. Down the line it goes. Encarnacion on his way to third. Ramirez into second with a double, and that's 3 straight hits for Cleveland to open the inning, and 2 of them doubles. And that is going to be it, I believe, for Andrew Cashner as Jeff Bannister goes to the mound.
Well, here comes a changeup, and you know, it was down towards the away part of the plate. Don't know if it was down enough, but Ramirez gets it down into the right field corner, and this inning really set up. Now second and third, still nobody out. 3 consecutive hits, and Cashner's afternoon is over.
Yeah, and I wonder too if getting hit by the barrel of that bat after the base hit by Encarnacion may have precipitated his exit from the game. The Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen has been made. We'll be right back.
Cleveland, the Indians lead the Texas Rangers 3-1. Al Pawlowski with you. Time now for a game break as we head to Detroit. This one all Tigers thus far. Justin Upton with a 3-run homer here in the bottom of the first inning. Number 15 for him. Ian Kinsler has also hit a solo shot. And so far, Michael Fulmer has been perfect for Detroit. 4-0 Tigers. We'll see them this weekend. Matt and Rick.
Thanks, Al. Nick Martinez, the new pitcher for Texas.
Cool.
He had been in the rotation. He won his last 2 starts. Now coming in out of the bullpen with 2 on and nobody out.
Well, as
second
Andre
and third.
told us earlier, they may go to a starter to get some innings out of that bullpen, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Lonnie chases one up and away, and it's 1-1. Breaking ball pulled down the line, a fair ball. It's by Napoli. And Encarnacion scores. Here comes Ramirez into second base with a 2-run double as Lonnie Chisenhall. And the Indians have taken command of the game with a 3-run sixth. They lead it 5-1. And boy, Lonnie Chisenhall in a pinch hit role continues a very red-hot month of June, Rick, especially where productivity is concerned.
Yeah, they throw him the breaking ball, and that's one that he's going to be able to pull to begin with, and then they're off the line on him. So I don't know about that pitch, but Lonnie takes advantage of it and drives in the pair. All 3 runs will be charged to Cashner. So 9 ribbies as a pinch hitter. That's most in the American League, and he's done a fantastic job. And that's a nice free at bat. Tito put him in a really good slot right there.
And how about 21 runs batted in the month of June for Lonnie? Carlos Santana takes a strike. Now a 1-1. So Rick, there's a situation you often wonder about, you know, with Terry Francona and Brad Mills. Is that a situation where they look at, you know, it's a small history. He was 2 for 5, Lonnie, in his career against Martinez. Is that why he goes for the pinch hit there? I mean, he started Brandon Guyer against a right-hander to begin with, so.
No, that's a chance you've got to go for the kill there. You're going to put him in anyway for defense. You know, later in the game, it's a 2-run game. Let's give him the at bat. You know, he's going to have a better chance. He's good at coming off the bench. They just put him in excellent spots.
Santana down on strikes for the first time today. 1 away. Nice job of holding on here by Chirinos.
Well, those things are, yeah, look at that right at the start of that webbing. They either stick or they don't. There's no way you can practice holding on to foul balls. But he did a good job of holding on to that one.
Yan Gomes singled and scored the Indians' first run back in the 3rd inning. You know, it's a funny thing about pinch hitting. Usually when a guy gets hot as a pinch hitter, he's not a regular player. It's usually, you know, one of your extra guys who just kind of fills into that role or falls into that role. Whereas Lonnie is more of a regular player who has just excelled for whatever reason in that role this year.
Well, we've talked about it.
And he talked about it, you know, knowing Tito now, having played for him for several years, he can kind of know even without talking to him, all right, it's my time.
That game gets ready. He knows he's going to be counted on if need be, and he knows the league. He knows the pitchers. So it's just like being a veteran, and you put him in the right spots, and he's responded this year, and he has been able to do it early. He hit the grand slam against Detroit early this year, and he's just been on a roll ever since.
Line to center, it's going to be caught, and there are 2 down. 9 RBI as a pinch hitter for Lonnie, most in the league, tied for the most in the majors. But it is funny to me, you know, you think about how many hitters we've seen who maybe are classic slow starters, but by the end of the year they get their batting average up, they get their numbers to where they are. With pinch hitters, it seems like if they get off to a fast start, they have a great year in that role. If they don't,
confidence.
They never seem to find it.
Confidence, but you know, in the National League more so than the American League.
True, more opportunities on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Zimmer shoots one to center, and Gomez runs it down. The side is retired, but the Indians, with 4 straight hits to open the inning, tack on 3 more, and they lead it 5-1. By the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk, proud partners of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. By the stylish 2017 Kia Optima. And by Smart Path Forward. Lakeland Community College is your Smart Path Forward. Start now. 5-1 Cleveland. And we go to the 7th inning. Lonnie Chisenhall stays in the game in right field. And now we've got that stat we've been keeping track of for several years now. The Indians have a very impressive win streak intact when Corey Kluber gets 4 runs of support. It's up over 50, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It sure is. It's 53 or 54.
Nomar Mazara leading off. He has accounted for Texas's only run today, a homer back in the first. It is 53 in a row.
Yeah, it goes back a number of years. June 11th of 2013.
Redbird said that streak started against these Texas Rangers.
That's pretty much an automatic. Boy, money in the bank.
Fastball inside corner, rung him up. That's that 2-seamer. Starts it off the dish, runs it back in. Strikeout number 10 for Corey Kluber.
That's 4th straight game with double-digit strikeouts. Look at the comeback to it on the inside part of the plate. And actually in the month of June, the lowest number he has had is 8. That was his second start, but he's had 10, 8, 10, 11, 13, and now 10 more. The month of June, I don't think Kluber wants to turn the page. Ties a club record with Bob Feller back in the 30s. Consecutive punch-outs in double digits.
Beltre takes a strike, and let's bring in Andre.
I think it's been well established that Beltre is most likely a Hall of Fame third baseman, maybe one of the best third basemen we've seen over the last 20 years. But a story that I had to tell you guys that I heard from being over in the Rangers dugout and being around their guys. Beltre should be on the DL right now. He's got a really bad ankle, and as we know, he started the season off on the DL. He didn't want to be there in the beginning of the season. And then he had this ankle injury to the point that Jeff Bannister was on the phone with their GM and their president. They were talking about putting him on the DL because of the ankle. He came into the office and said, "What are you doing? Put me in the lineup. I'm not going on the DL." You know what he did that night? Hit a game-winning home run for the Rangers the other night against the Indians.
Well, this guy has been known, I mean, throughout the years that he has played, Andre, to play through pain. In Seattle, he had a groin issue. He had a thumb issue a couple of years ago with the Rangers and played through that all year long. And that's why he's the player he is. He's as tough as they get. They don't make him like this guy anymore.
They don't. And his nickname tells you all you need to know about him. They call him the captain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Off the plate.
Well, he may not. Be careful.
Ramirez can't come up with it, and it wouldn't have mattered. Beltre has a base hit with one out here in the 7th.
There's nothing you could do. You're playing him back, and on this hop, it's got spin to it, and he wouldn't have thrown him out anyway. So Beltre will get the infield single for only the 3rd hit for those Rangers. The last one coming leading off the 2nd inning by Odor.
Outside corner, a called strike. Hard hit ball. Diving stop by Kipnis. Goes to second. They get the lead runner there. Nice play by Jason Kipnis. An all-out diving stop. And then the presence of mind to quickly get up and fire a seed to Lindor for out number 2.
Well, case in point, he knows who's running right there. It's Beltre, who doesn't run fast. So he knows that he has an opportunity to get the lead runner, and he got him by plenty. That's knowing the speed of the guy on the bases. So he gets the lead runner. They get the second out. Nice play by Jason.
And with 2 down, Carlos Gomez to the plate. Gomez didn't start the last couple of games because he's been dealing with some back issues. He returned to the lineup today, and he's 0 for 2, so that makes him 0 for 6 in the series with 6 strikeouts. And he goes wailing away for strike 1.
Crowd would like to see one more strikeout by Kluber. Another 0-2 count.
Foul back our way and into the upper deck.
You know, the bottom part of this lineup, when you look at hitters starting with Gomez and going down to the 9th place hitter, they are 0 for 7 today with 6 strikeouts. So he has just dominated this part of the lineup.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Number 11 for Corey Kluber. The machine keeps rolling along. Again with the Marlins battling the Brewers Saturday at 3:30 Eastern, only on FS1. Then Indians Tigers at 7 on your local Fox station, or you can watch it all on Fox Sports Go. Bottom of the 7th. Jason Kipnis will lead it off. 0 for 3 today. Nick Martinez delivers a first pitch strike. Martinez not a big guy, 6'1". A little under 200 pounds. Rangers made him an 18th round pick 6 years ago. And he was mostly a second baseman at Fordham, where he played collegiately. He pitched 26 innings in relief the whole time he was in college. Ground ball foul. But you know, hey, you find a guy that you like his arm, and that happens. I wouldn't say all the time, but it's probably more frequent than you would believe. What I would say is probably more unusual is a guy who has spent maybe a few years in the minors and then successfully converts to a pitcher. It happens, but that's rarely, probably more a rare exception than a guy who was not really a pitcher in college, but you draft him and you develop him into one.
Yeah, I mean, they do that a lot with position players. Move them. You know,
well, we talked about Chu. Chu showed up originally as a professional with the Mariners as a pitcher.
Right.
And then they said, no, we're going to make you an outfielder.
You go from third base to catcher. You go from shortstop. You can become an outfielder. And, you know, there's a number of different things.
Lindor shoots one. Deep left center. Mazzara won't catch it. It's off the wall. High off that wall. And Frankie flies into second base with a one-out double. It's his 22nd two-bagger of the year, and he missed by maybe a couple of feet from hitting his 15th home run.
Well, that's the nice stroke you want to see Frankie apply, and it's on a breaking ball. And it goes high off that auxiliary scoreboard. That's their 4th double in the last 2 innings. So with 1 out, he will get himself, and he had to hustle, and he goes in head first. Good job hustling and breaking out of the batter's box. That's 8 hits now.
One on, one out. Michael Brantley, the batter. He's already doubled twice today.
The Indians trailed Houston when it comes to doubles. They were 2nd in the league, but the 5 now gives him 159. Houston has 158, and I'm sure they're going to play. They're just starting their ball game down in Houston against Oakland. But the American League West has been kind for the Indians this year. They're looking for their 16th win. They're 5-1 against Houston, 5-1 against right here the Rangers, 3-1 against Oakland, 2-1 against Seattle.
Michael Brantley will take the free pass. T-Mobile Unlimited Baseball break. George Springer and the Houston Astros continue to roll. How about him? 9 leadoff home runs this year.
He's having an unbelievable season.
And the Astros at 53-26. Now, Houston did get off to a great start a couple of years ago, and Texas was able to run them down in the second half. But, Rick, I don't see that happening this year because the Astros, at least from what we've seen, and even though the Indians have handled them, they're a much better balanced team this year.
They went out and signed a few veterans over there to come over and, you know, show the kids pretty much how to do it and help them lead the way. Carlos Beltran, McCann behind the plate. And don't be surprised if they go out and maybe add a little piece, either a bullpen guy or a starter, to that rotation over there before it's all said and done. Shepler's up in the bullpen. He came in the second game of the series and didn't allow too much relief in that ball game. Matter of fact, didn't get an out.
Encarnacion takes a strike on the outside edge. Edwin's bat quite literally sped up the exit in this game for Andrew Cashner, the Texas starter. In the 6th inning, Cashner was cruising along. He'd only allowed 2 runs. And then Michael Brantley started the 6th with a double, and Edwin hit a pitch that sawed his bat literally in 2. The ball went through the right side of the infield. The bat clipped Cashner on his pitching arm because he was watching the ball, and then by the time he looked back, the barrel of that bat was on top of him. He stayed in, but only for one more batter. Ramirez doubled. He left the game, and the Indians would go on to score 3 runs in the inning. Edwin fouls it right back. And he's in the hole 1-2. Bradley Zimmer gave the Indians the lead with some heads-up base running back in that 3rd inning. Quick throw back, and Lindor in standing. In off the plate. Fastball had some run to it, and it's now 2-2. Encarnacion with 42 runs batted in on the year. Lonnie Chisenhall, who had the pinch hit 2-run double, leads the team now with 43. And a full count. Two on, 1 out. Indians up 5-1 here in the 7th. Nice crowd on a beautiful afternoon. And the payoff pitch is fouled off. Looked like he was just trying to spoil it. He didn't like it. He wasn't pleased with the pitch, but he figured it was too close to take, so let me just try to get the bat in the way of this thing and foul it off.
This is an emergency hack. Yeah, he had no intentions of swinging at that one, but he got a piece of it.
Again, the 3-2. High pop up.
It's going to come back in a fair
territory. Mazzara in left field circling under it and makes the catch. 2 down. This is one of those days where if there wasn't the sort of hazy overcast conditions, it would be really tough for the outfielders. Jose Ramirez 20 extra base hits now in the month of June with that double back in the 6th inning. You got to go back to that incredible month of May Jason Kipnis had 2 years ago.
Yeah, he had what, 51 hits in that month, or was that, yeah, 22 extra base hits.
And we still have what, one more day to go tomorrow.
Right.
Tomorrow will be the last day of June. And it will be in the Motor City, where the Tigers are tattooing Kansas City at the moment, 6-0. 2 on, 2 out. And Ramirez looks at a pitch down low for ball 1. This might be the biggest crowd of the series. You know, I'm starting to look around.
There's a beautiful
lot
crowd
of folks
today.
here. Yeah.
Why not take it in?
School's out. It's a warm day. But you got enough of a breeze, so even if you're out there in the sun, you're not sweltering, I wouldn't think.
Speaking of,
23,996, so almost 24,000 for the finale. Indians are only gone briefly, just a 3-day weekend series in Detroit. Off day on the Monday and right back here for the 4th of July. Ground ball to first, backhanded by Napoli. Perfect feed to Martinez to retire the side. 7 in the books. Cleveland 5, Texas 1. By authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. Oh, they are having a ball down in the corner tonight, or today. They'll be having a ball tonight once they leave Progressive Field. They'll be well oiled and ready to go. Corey Kluber coming on the pitch. The 8th inning, as he has just rolled his way through this game here this afternoon. Struck out 2 in the 1st, 3 in the 2nd, then 2 more in the 5th, 6th, and 7th innings.
And this is so far the 3rd straight game that he's allowed just 3 hits. And he's pitching deep, folks. He had against Baltimore, complete game shutout where he went 9 innings, allowed 3 hits. In his last start against Minnesota, the 7 innings, but it was a 2 unearned runs in the very 1st inning. And 71% strikes for Kluber on his 100th pitch.
I'm glad you brought that up, because remember the other night when Carlos Carrasco had a rough day, putting it mildly. But remember, he had 7 strikeouts in 3 innings, even though he'd gotten knocked around the yard. So sometimes the strikeout numbers,
yeah, who cares?
But the way Kluber has pitched, yeah, 11 strikeouts, but he's only given up 3 hits.
3 hits. He stays into the ballgame. He's averaged 7 innings this whole month. You know, and his last start would have went more. Like I said, it all depends. The first 2 starts were 6 innings, and it was 7, 9, 7. He's into the 8th now. And you know, nowadays these pitchers have to learn. You have to command the strike zone and get ahead of hitters, or you're going to be out after 5, 6 innings because of your pitch count. But Kluber does it so masterfully. It's the strikeouts because he's ahead in the count and he expands the strike zone.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. High pop up.
That may come back.
Let's see.
That's coming
Ramirez
back.
is up there. He's at the tarp. Lindor says, I'll take it.
Look at that. That thing was about 10 rows into the seats. That wind blowing, and it's bringing it back onto the playing field. There were a couple fly balls. They're discussing it right now. I mean, you got to get out there and hustle.
It doesn't look like it's really blowing that hard, but when you hit a sky-high pop-up like that, the wind probably will catch it a little.
2 of the high flies that Encarnacion hit today, one drifted all the way to center. The other one was down the line and it came over to left. It was the wind really has something to do with that pitch coming back into the right field bleachers.
I don't know if that's Jonathan Lucroy. Was he out in the bullpen? And Corey Kluber's had to wait for him to get off the field. He was running all the way in from the bullpen. So a little break in the action here as Mike Napoli stands in 0 for 2. And he lines one up the middle, but right there to scoop it up is Jason Kipnis. And Andre Knott has something to add.
I want to add, and it's going to be a little off because of the Cookie Carrasco start, but in this homestand going into today, and we can't use Kluber's numbers yet, the Indian starters at their 35 innings give up 18 earned runs. Now most of those came in Cookie start. ERA was 4.63 with 12 walks, 41 K. If you're looking for a turning point for the Indians, though, you look at Clevenger's last few starts, Kluber's last few starts, Bauer's month of June as well. They're finally getting some consistency with the starts. And like I said, Cookie had a tough one the other night, but you throw that out, and I know you can't. The starters are starting to round into the guys we thought they were going to be coming out of spring training. Is it okay to say that now?
Yeah, it is, and they're just going to have to continue. Hopefully that continues. You know, it's going to be a tough weekend in Detroit.
Right. Well, I think this start is big. I know you guys hit on it in the open of the game, but this start is big with Kluber because you're pretty deep into it now in the 8th, and you haven't had to get anybody up in the bullpen. And with 2 games on Saturday, the Indians still haven't said exactly how they're going to do things. We expect Cookie Carrasco to start in game 1. In game 2, there's a chance that Ryan Merritt will be called up, but not start. We don't have that officially yet, but it could be almost a bullpen type day, but they haven't decided yet because they want to see how the bullpen played out today and tomorrow with Josh Tomlin.
Yeah, that right-handed heavy lineup of Detroit is not good for a soft throwing lefty.
Right. So maybe you have him just in case for length, if that makes sense.
Well,
and you try to, bob and weave, because the one thing we know about the Indians pitching staff, their bullpen days have been some of their best days over the last year.
Yeah, no question. But they knew Kluber was on the mound today. That's why they could go to their bullpen the way they did last night, because Kluber always gives you length.
Up high, 2-2. Corey Kluber today has been the very definition of an ace. He has given the team length. He has dominated the opposition's lineup. After allowing the run in the first, he's only given up 2 hits the rest of the game. And this is a big game, Rick, because in a 4-game series, as we know, they're so difficult to win. You can play great through the first 3 games and be feeling really good about yourself, but you lose that 4th game and you walk away going, eh.
Yeah, but winning a 4-game series is very big. You can always hang your hat on that.
And he's given them the opportunity. The 2-2. Got him looking. A dirty dozen for Corey Kluber. 8 incredible innings of work. And the Indians are rolling 5-1. Performance, 12 strikeouts today. He has now moved into a tie with Louis Tiant for 10th place on the Indians' all-time strikeout list, just over 1,000 in his career.
It's incredible. Congratulations. Those hundreds go by in a hurry when you strike out 12 a game or double digits.
New pitcher for Texas as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Tanner Scheppers will face Lonnie Chisenhall. Lonnie a pinch hit 2-run double in the 6th. Missed down and in. Then a foul right back. Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Lonnie with 9 pinch hit runs batted in on the year, and this one broke the game open.
Yes, it did. 3-1 ball game at the time. And he will go down. This first strikeout for Scheppers.
Carlos Santana will bat with 1 out here in the 8th.
Well, we have to send out a very special birthday wish to our girl here, Lucille Gregg, celebrating her birthday. It'll be tomorrow, but we're not going to be here. She works in the press dining room for the Tribe and has for a number of years. Does a wonderful job. So, Lucille, happy birthday. We hope you have a great weekend and enjoy it somehow, some way.
Lucille is the person who brings a little bit of civility to our press dining room. She's the one that makes sure we all eat with forks and knives and napkins and not like a bunch of cavemen.
Well, she keeps Gary Coach in check is what she does.
Right field, and that's got to get down. Goes to the wall on a bounce, and Santana goes into second base with a double. And for the Indians, that is their 6th double of the day.
Yeah, they've been doing it the last 3 innings. He gets a fastball out over the plate, pulls it down into the corner. For Carlos, his 18th double. That's going to be the 9th hit for the Indians. So a chance to add to this 5-1 score with 1 out here in the bottom half of the 8th.
And Yan Gomes looks at a pitch up and in. One and one to count. Right field, down the line, slicing foul deep in the corner.
Well, KeyBank Kids tickets start at just $15 for kids 12 and under with the purchase of an adult ticket. The seats are located in the family deck near the kids clubhouse and are only available at Indians.com.
Yan Gomes, after driving one deep down the right field line but foul, awaits the 1-2 pitch. And a lazy fly ball, but it carries pretty well deep right center. Gomez makes the catch. Santana will tag and go to third, but there are 2 down. And it will bring up Bradley Zimmer. Bradley Zimmer, he singled in the 3rd inning. That was a big moment in this ball game. Infield hit and worked his way around the bases and scored on a wild pitch. Aggressive.
Yeah, he earned that run with his legs.
That gave the Indians the lead. And that was really the way Kluber's pitched. That was all he needed. Now the 1-1 on its way. Rip foul. Look out, folks.
Zimmer gets a tremendous jump on that wild pitch. Didn't get far away from Chirinos, but went in. And the thing I like was that his foot slide. He didn't try to go with the hand. You know how many guys try to come with the hand and it's an easy tag. This is the pitcher coming in from the mound, and he had to slide in and try and tag him as well.
Bouncing ball in the hole. Odor with a flip and a terrifically timed play defensively takes care of Zimmer. We'll go to the ninth. 5-1 Cleveland. Three of 4 from him here in this series at Progressive Field. Welcome back to center field along with Jensen Lewis, Al Pulowski. Today the Indians got some offense, got those 5 runs. That's always a good thing. But boy, Corey Kluber, 12 strikeouts today. A lot of history to talk about on Indians Live post game, but more importantly, 3 outs away from the Indians going to 11-2 against the state of Texas. Pretty impressive. That? Who would have thought that against the Rangers and Stros? All right, let's go back upstairs for the call of the ninth. Here are Matt and Rick, and join us, Indians Live, brought to you by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care after the game. There's our man, Archie.
Yes, it is.
Warren Jones, the president
Warren.
of the ASA and USA softball.
All right.
Big fan of the Indians, but man, he's a hard man to pin down because he's always traveling. You always get that phone going in his ear. He's in charge of a lot of.
He's not a hard man to find in that pink shirt. I'll tell you that.
You talk about sticking out like a sore thumb. Warren's he's styling down there.
He's a good dude.
He's with another good longtime Ashlander, Jackie Purtell. One pitch, one out here in the ninth as Shin-Soo Choo is erased. Bryant Shaw for the 39th time this year. 2-2, 2.37 ERA. Elvis Andrus will bat 0 for 3 on the afternoon. Indians up 5-1 here in the ninth. All right, so Andres, he always loves to drop these little nuggets of knowledge on us, right? Well, I had Redbird fire up the computer for us. How about this one, guys? Indians are on the verge here of winning a 4-game series without hitting a home run for the first time since September of 1989.
Wow, that goes back a ways.
Man,
that's a good sign, though.
It just shows you that it can be done, but it's rare, obviously. And you know, and they're playing a team. It's Andre. It's in some ways, it's like looking in a mirror, maybe not liking what you see.
Right. And we had this discussion before the game. Are the Indians built to compete with all these other teams that hit home runs? And for what? The first 2.5, 3 months of the season, the Indians had to hit home runs to score runs. I think this is a good sign that they can win a series like this without hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
Yeah, boils down to good pitching.
That may be what's sort of lost in all this is Elvis Andrus. It wouldn't be a game in Cleveland without a hit from Elvis Andrus, his 7th of the series, but his first here today. Storylines recap courtesy of Mazda. Kluber against a swing and miss team. He did not disappoint with 12 strikeouts, 4 straight double-digit whiff games for him. And the table setters, Lindor and Kipnis, they had been on base repeatedly throughout much of this series. Today, Lindor only got aboard once, but he did drive in a run with a ground out. Michael Brantley had 2 hits, walked twice, scored a run.
And I would say over this 4-game stretch and really this homestand, nice to have Brantley back, nice to have Ramirez, but as you just said, the top of the order is doing their work where they've had to rely on the bottom of the order over the last month a little bit. It's nice to see those guys kind of work together.
Nomar Mazara is 1 for 3 today. Only run of the game came on his homer in the first, fouls this one back. Omar, Andre, you're right down there next to the dugout. You have a feel for how the team is kind of reacting day in and day out after the disappointment over the weekend series against Minnesota. How has the dynamic down there changed during these 4 games?
Well, I don't want to say they slept and walked through the weekend, but I think the weekend, it was almost like because of what happened the weekend before versus Minnesota, this came off like a team that felt like they were just going to walk on the field and win. I think it was a wake-up call, and I think getting down early in that game against Texas earlier this week, that was, and look, it's a lot of baseball left, as we all know, but that was the first time you kind of saw these guys in the dugout looking at each other going, hey, this has got to stop. This isn't who we are. Right. This isn't how we're going to play baseball. And they've played good ball. And I think the pitching has been much better. I know there's games that jump out, but every guy that I've talked to over the last couple of days, they keep saying, if we support our pitching the right way, there's no reason for us to lose games or series.
Well, I look at that first game of this series, and I know a lot has been made of it. Is it potentially a turning point? And that won't be known for sure until the season's all said and done. We see how the rest of this plays out. But the 0-2 pitch to Mazara is inside, and finally Andrus can take second base on indifference. I'm always reminded of that line about, a great boxer. You don't really know how great a guy is until he tastes his own blood. Then you find out what you're made of. Do you come out fighting, or do you just kind of turtle and go into a shell and you kind of float up the white flag? Right. This team got its nose bloodied the other night, and I have to admit I love the grit and determination and the fight they showed to come back and win that game.
I love that they got mad. Like,
right.
You use the word grit, I'll say they got mad. They were frustrated and mad with one another. Mike Tyson said it perfectly. You said it in boxing. He would always say, everybody's got a game plan until you get punched in the nose. Right. Right? Yeah. You get hit in the nose, and it's like, okay, this is real.
But, Andre, to your point, and Rick, you could talk to this. Sometimes emotion doesn't always work in baseball. It can work against you.
Yeah, you just got to come out and day by day and series by series, you have wake-up calls. It's such a long series, you can get complacent, and you know, you expect teams to roll over for you. Teams will not roll over for the Indians this year because they were in the World Series last year. They got a target on their back. Teams want to beat you.
Let me ask you guys this, and I thought just 2 nights ago I was catching a little bit of the Minnesota in the Boston game. I don't think Minnesota is as talented as the Indians, but now that they've gotten to July, guys, and they're in this thing, they're not. I think they've got some confidence of, hey, we may not have this or that, but let's compete. I think they're going to compete. I'm not saying to the end, but I think they're going to be a thorn in the side for a long time.
Pulls it foul. Mazzara staying alive in this at bat. Well, it's almost like, you know, the Twins remind me of a young kid gets on a ladder for the first time. You either get to the top of that ladder and you really like the way it feels, or you're like, oh my gosh, where are we and how did we get here?
Right.
But I'm with you. I don't sense any sort of panic from the Twins because of where they're at this point in the season. Now that could change in another month if, you know, if things start to heat up and you get down to into the stretch. We'll see. Chop to third. Ramirez looks the runner back, flips it over, 2 down. And I think, Andre, if the Indians are going to get to where they ultimately want to go at the end of the season, I think it's good for them to have a team to continue to push them.
Chase Kipnis said the same thing to me. I was going to say, he said, hey, if this is what it takes to keep our motor running, he goes, let's go, let's battle. But to say that, what Brian Dozier said after they won the 3rd game on Sunday, that I kind of opened my eyes to. They know they may be overmanned, but they're not going to just walk away and give it up. They're going to make the Indians earn this division, and I think that's good for the Indians. I really do.
Two down. Adrian Beltre, the batter. Beltre 1 for 3. Fouled right back our way. And the Rangers are down to their last strike. Corey Kluber went 8 tremendous innings, giving up 1 run, striking out 12. The offense with 2 1/3, 3 in the 6th. And now Brian Shaw trying to finish it off, takes the comebacker, flips it to first, and the Indians win the series, taking 3 out of 4 from Texas. The final score is 5-1. It's the Indians' first 4-game series win without hitting a home run since 1989. And the Indians will stay in first place in the Central Division as they move to 42-36 on the year. Corey Kluber gets the win. He is now 7-2 on the season, and he finishes the month of June 4-0. And I don't have an updated ERA, but it's got to be just a shade over 1.
It's unbelievable. I'll tell you what. It's he was outstanding this whole month, no doubt about it. And it's nice to see the Indians battle back and end this. I mean, even though it was a losing homestand, they ended it in the right way, getting 3 out of 4 from Texas. They'll be on a quick jaunt to Detroit. 4-game series. Doubleheader on Saturday.
Corey's updated ERA for the month of June, 1.26.
Yeah,
so he's got a real good shot to be the American League Player of the Month.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He just wants the team to win.
He doesn't.
You know, that's all he cares about, and he did his job. That's no question about that.
So a great win for the Tribe here today. 5-1 is the final. We'll be back with final thoughts next.